So now we're live and recording. So now we can officially begin the show. So yay, welcome to this week's Playing to Win. I love we get the small group of a interactive audience with us. And then again, we'll be watching the live stream on Facebook. I'm really excited. Happy April to everybody. Really, really excited about my guest today. I've been trying to get him on for a while and he's been very busy. So I was very happy that he said yes today. Chris Ott and his sister Teresa Bissot run the Ott team here with Keller Williams, and they're amazing. Quite a legacy in our city, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I've known Chris pretty much since I moved to Austin. He's just somebody who's always stood out for me. Their team did $48 million in 2020. It's incredible. So we're going to talk about what are they doing to play to win in the market right now. So let's welcome our awesome guest. Woo woo! Northwest Legacy, Mr. Chris Ott. Welcome.
Yes, welcome to my humble abode.
Yes, exactly. Welcome, welcome. Well, let's talk about, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit to the group?
How much time do we have again?
We have a whole
hi.
hour. We have a whole hour.
My name is Chris Ott. Teresa Bissot and I do run the Ott group of Keller Williams Realty. Formerly, well, we still have the Relo group. That is our relocation division of our team.
Right.
We weren't born, but we're definitely raised inside of Keller Williams. Our parents were the first, I think, within the first 100 agents.
Wow.
Gary Gentry, if you're watching this, I love you. Can't wait to see you in person again soon. We'll blame him for us being here. My parents joined Keller Williams back in the 80s, and they were begging all of us to start real estate for years. And I finally caved back in 2003. And Teresa was shortly behind me in 2004. But my mom, Liz, was one of the founding members of the Northwest Market Center. I wish I could bring that magazine, Upfront magazine, from my archives and show you. It's her, Elizabeth Dale, John Little, Lisa Kossab. You have to understand the irony of me following up Andy Allen. I used to go visit the office when I was a kid, and Andy Allen was there.
Oh, I
so
love
Andy,
that.
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep up with you still to this day. But yeah, I've been licensed myself. I can't believe I'm saying this, going on 18 years now. All of that time with Keller Williams, all that time with the Northwest Market Center, except for that short stint where I was kind of the tech team leader and ran.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. The technology for the Austin area, ran that the kwaustin.com website and did some tech training for everybody. So
yeah,
just a brief moment. That was a little blink. It was about a year.
That's where I really got to get to know you better. Yeah.
Yeah, we've consistently produced. We have averaged over the time, at least that I've been there, we've averaged somewhere around $30 to $35 million a year. We peaked at just over, I think it was just over 50 million back in 2018. So last year was actually our second best year. Now that's, of course, volume. The units we consistently do between 100 and 150 units annually. We want to increase that, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And I've also taught. I love teaching. That's why you texted me earlier that I got this. I know I do. I love teaching. Believe it or not, I am a little shy, but it's I'm a little comfortable because this is like home. It really is. I know. I get it. But take me to a new spot where I don't know anybody, and I'm going to sit in the corner of the room until I get introduced to somebody.
I just can't imagine that. I finally found us on Facebook. Sorry, I had to look at my phone.
No, okay.
I just wanted to make sure I could get like the questions from the group there. So, because we've got people watching there as well. So awesome. So Chris, do you have a specific role on the team, or do you do both listings and buyers, or tell me a little bit more of what your role looks like now in your Ott team?
Well, hopefully she's watching to hear this, because we're all just Teresa's slaves and do her bidding.
I'll make sure she.
Teresa and I both. This is I think what makes us kind of a unique team. We're both kind of the rainmakers. I mean, there is the relocation business there that's still feeding us and feeding us well. And then Teresa and I have our database of clients that we're building more and more business from. So we're both pretty much the rainmakers, but we've brought in agents that are creating their own rain as well.
Yeah.
We really run our team. Another agent said it the other day. I love this. It really is like a family.
Yeah.
We are texting daily. quick side note, funny story. A scammer tried to get money from my agents and they all attacked this guy the other day. It was
Good
great.
for them.
I'll have to
Yeah.
show you yeah,
Oh my
it
God.
was great. I mean, they
Yeah.
all responded in like, how stupid do you think we are? We know
Good
Chris.
for them. Good for them.
Um,
Yeah. Chris has
yeah,
talked well.
it was great. So yeah, I mean, we definitely have a unique team set up and commission split, stuff like that. But basically, Rainmaker, I do listings and buyers.
Okay. You work with
And starting, yeah, and run the relocation. I'm seen as the relocation director
them. Okay.
for many of the relocation companies. They call me,
Which is
leads come
big.
through me.
Which is big.
That's big, yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of relationships because your mom started that years ago, and she built that
Yeah.
here, right? I mean, so the relationship you were telling me that you have with different companies, it's extraordinary.
They go back decades. I mean, the
Yeah.
relocation relationships that she had started even back in Ohio, so that's over 50 years ago.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
yeah.
It's
And
incredible.
now managing that and still closing deals, I'm starting to hand over more and more deals and do more of, operations type stuff. So is Teresa.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, a little bit of everything.
Chris,
Yeah.
what percentage of your business these days is relo for you guys? Is it about half or is it less than half?
Well, if there was homes available.
Yeah. What about
uh,
relocating to Austin when there's like no inventory, right?
right. So last year, it was about 30% of our business.
Okay.
The year before, it was about 50% of our business.
Yeah.
So some of it depends on how many leads are coming in. Like they put relocation on pause last year. Dell put a freeze the instant COVID happened.
Oh,
They
sure.
froze it.
I believe it.
So,
I believe it.
um, we get a good amount of leads. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It really just kind of depends because the lead generation we do comes from our database.
Right.
So you can only turn over your database once every what 5-7 years. I
Right.
mean, sure,
Exactly.
there's people that pop up every so often. So
Oh,
sometimes relocations 50%. We're working on making it a consistent 25% of our business year over
right.
year.
And that's really where you're going to see the impact on the bottom line, right? Because for those of you who don't know what relo is, I mean, there's always a big chunk that goes back to that company. So, and your team did over $1 million in GCI. Congratulations. That's
Thank
incredible,
you.
right? So that shows me that more is not that, right? And that's where it's showing up because you're doing high units, high
Yeah.
volume, and your GCI is up there too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the 48 million was technically more like 57 million
Yeah.
if you consider what we paid out in referral fees.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
saying that, I've moved in several tech executives. One of them, I didn't even do a deal with him yet, and he sent me five referrals that I did not pay a referral fee on.
That's great.
So,
Great.
a good chunk of our business is just referral based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys though have done a lot of work to kind of reinvent that and get more in the resale side. So let's talk about playing to win, right? Because
Yeah.
here, and so I always start this with, the mindset of 2020 was a lot of playing not to lose. In 2021, dang gammit, or whatever you say, whatever, is that
Dagnabbit.
even a word? Dang nabbit, there you
Yeah.
go.
Who
We're gonna play
cares?
to win. We're gonna play to win. And so that's why we got really aggressive. We changed our, splits, everything. We got really proactive at Keller Williams here in Austin. And what's cool, even though our profit as a market center has gone backwards, but I'm thinking long-term play, our retention was up 42%. And listen to this. I don't know if you saw yesterday, I got the numbers for Northwest. We closed more volume in the month of March than ever in the history of this market center. So if you
Yep.
think back to last year was 62 million, the year before that was just a little more, 64, and we did 162. So it's
Yeah,
162 million, and that's crazy. Now, and here people could say, "Oh, it's the market." Well, listen to this. We had 200 deals we did last March. This year, 422. That's you
Yeah.
guys all. That's all you
Yeah.
guys are big guys out there doing it. And so now it's like, how do we get our unfair share for all of our agents? That's extraordinary. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
so proud of those numbers, but that's you guys out there hustling because there's less inventory and higher demand, right?
Yep.
And so how do we help people win? And so that's what this is all about, because you're obviously winning at a high level. You've always been a winner, but look at that. You went from 50% to maybe 30% of your business last year because
Yep.
relo shuts down. So you guys find another way and you still have your second best ever year, right? That's
Yep.
extraordinary. So tell me, what does playing to win look like for Chris Ott?
So two things came to mind when you asked that question. First one to me that's most important, playing to win, is I'm winning for my clients.
That's right.
So yeah, it's frustrating right now to have buyers and you can't win for them. Like, I don't think my buyers understand because I'm supposed to be professional and
Mhm.
I can't show any emotion. But when I lose a deal for my clients, I am furious. Like, I can't sleep at night.
Mhm.
I know they're saying the same thing that I even tell them, look, guys, I'm in the same boat, but I have to be the professional here and I have to be the one to get you through this transaction. I know it's stressful for you. It's not my money. By the way, that's a common phrase that I use. It's not my money.
Mhm.
But yes, I mean, I hate losing for my clients. So playing to win is knocking it out of the park for my clients.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I let them drive the transaction? No. When I first got in the business, yes. And then I realized, no, they want me to be the professional and they want me to drive things. They want me to educate them, tell them what to expect next. Honestly, I need to communicate even more than I already am. But
Right.
playing to win is getting them what they need and what they want. And of course, if I get the daydream as well, man, I've knocked it out of the park.
Right.
So
Right.
that's one thing. The other thing playing to win to me is the long game. What you're talking about with what Keller Williams has done, if you're thinking short-sighted, which I've been on a lot of real estate forums lately, and I'm pretty upset with agents in this business that do not have a professional mindset and aren't playing with the long game. They're only reacting to the market right
Right.
now. In my opinion, you're losing.
Mhm.
That's why Zillow and some of these other companies are taking over
Yeah.
because they're playing the long game and
Right.
they're communicating with your clients essentially thinking, hey, here's how things are going to go for the foreseeable future. Well, if we acted the same way, don't you think they would respond to us instead of, oh, well, here's the market now, let's do this?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
being very general because there's a bunch of little details that I'm seeing in these conversations that I'm like, why are you doing that? You're letting the people drive. Yes, we are here to help and offer fiduciary responsibility to our clients, but that also means that we educate them on what we're seeing, on what's going on. And hey guys, why don't you handle the negotiations this way? Why? Because it leaves us open options.
Yeah.
Like, that's the long game. I'm negotiating with some clients, their attorneys, and they're trying to say, well, why don't we negotiate this way? I'm the one telling them, well, that removes three of our options. Oh, okay, great. Let's not do that.
Because
That's
you're the
because I'm
professional. Mhm.
right. And I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking, man, I want to get this contract closed so I can get paid.
Right.
I'm thinking, man, I want to get this done the right way that leaves us the most options so that when this is over, we can review everything and we can talk about what they got. And in some cases, yes, here's what you lost, but here's what we gained by what we did. If
Yeah.
that conversation ever comes up.
Right.
I love a phrase. There's a phrase that one of my agents, Matt Richter, he uses this in every deal. I want you to feel like I didn't get paid enough. I love that one. Absolutely love that one. And when I first heard it from him, it gave me chills because it's like, yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So now I need to communicate that to my clients and go, hey, I understand that you think that realtors make too much money by the amount of times people ask me to cut my commission, but do you understand what I'm going to do for you? Do you understand that if something surprisingly pops up that you can't afford, I'm actually going to offer to cover that. But I'm not going to tell you that up front.
Yeah.
That ruins it. Like, let me help take care of you along the way. So sorry, was that the long answer or the short answer?
That's
it's
okay. It's
you know
the perfect answer. It's the perfect answer.
yeah,
But it is and I think that that's the thing too, is the conversation with the clients. Is it a
yeah,
short decision or is it a long-term play? Like, how bad do you want the house? So when you think about like the market right now that we're in, you
yeah,
already touched on, like, you makes you so mad when you can't win for your clients, and you feel sometimes your buyers aren't winning because either they're not getting, their offers accepted, or they just have to put a lot more money if they want it. So
yeah.
what do you think is the most important thing an agent can do right now to make sure that they're helping their clients win?
You got to prepare them for the market. I mean, I think this is true for any market, though. I don't care how fast or how slow it is. They have something in their minds that you have to tap into that. You have to see things from their angle. And in the classes that I taught, I would always be at the front of the class and I'd say, I don't know what you're looking at. When I'm talking, you can see me, but you may be looking past me at the map or the lamp back here. I don't know that until I ask you.
Yeah.
So I ask my clients some pretty basic questions that they think I know they think I should know the answer to. And then when they're kind of pausing, go, look, I have my answer. I want yours. So what are you looking at? What can you see? I'm assuming that you're looking at this, but that's not good. I don't want to assume. I want to know for sure, what are you looking at? And I'll find out that out of the 5 things I think they're looking at, there's actually 2 things they're looking at. Well, hey, let me show you the other 3 that you need to be considering, right? Ask more questions. As a rookie, I didn't ask enough questions. I went from showing on average probably 40 homes to 10 on average before people wrote an offer. By doing what? Asking questions. And basic questions, by the way. And when we're in the house, I'm pointing things out. Hey, did you notice this? I know this is basically, I let my OCD self come out and go, I know this is tiny, but did you notice this? I still do it to this day. And the amount of people that go, wow, I didn't even see that, would shock you. It's amazing what they don't see. So don't assume anything.
Don't
Ask
assume.
all kinds of questions.
I love that, because you know what, they're not in real estate all the time, right? And we forget that they're not looking at all these houses you guys are looking at all the time with people. So don't think you're stating the obvious or asking, obvious questions, because you're going to get a feel for where their mind is, right? Another, what you just touched on though, is that the asking the questions. I also think this pertains to what do they think is happening with the market right now? Right? Are you looking at the land? Right? Exactly. So
the sky is falling.
And they're hearing that. So that's where it's really important that you meet them in the middle and educate them. Right. And I think I keep saying this is a skill-based market. This is a skill-based market because you have to educate and you need to know how to play the game. And these are the rules right now. And the rules might change in a week. They might change in a month. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, although I do have crystal ball in my office, but that's a prosperity.
Can you rub that for me and tell me what's coming?
I'm asking it every day, but we'll see. So, okay. So, what are you doing differently? Because you said you've always educated them. What are you doing differently today though, in this market?
For buyers
at either side, just what are you doing differently to lead gen or whatever? How do you have to show up differently now?
So I'll start with buyers, since that's obviously the hot topic that I know a lot of people are like, how do I do this? You gotta educate them about the financials. I mean, I sent a checklist to a company, a major tech company here, and made it clear, do not mess around with your money. I used to work for an investment firm, and people wanted to invest in stock with money that they didn't have. Can't do it. That's called a margin call, right? You can't go to the grocery store if you don't know how much money you have. There's all these kinds of analogies that I give to my clients. Look, it's moving fast. The sellers want to know that you have the money. Do you have it or not? Now, do I say it that way? No, but all the questions definitely convey that sense. Like, have you been truly pre-approved? Well, yeah, I got a pre-qualification. No. Do you have a blank check from the bank? I don't know. You need to know that. Do you have all your cash? Well, it's in stock. Sell it now. We're going to have to move quick. So I'm not saying it this way because one thing I didn't say before, by the way, I don't care how many deals they've done. They are freaking out, guys. They're freaking out. I sold my personal home and bought a home back in 2014, had already been doing it for at least 10 years, and I was freaking out. I had to argue with my mom, who was my listing agent at the time.
Oh, that's funny.
And we were scared.
So true. It's so true.
Yeah,
so true.
They're freaking out.
Agents forget that. That. Yeah.
Right. So how you ask the questions, like we said earlier, how you communicate is important. However, the theme that comes across is you need to be prepared. And when they ask why, because there's somebody out there with cash, even up to 1.5 million or more, and you've got to be able to compete with them. So they're also coming from California. Here's something else to do. Educate yourself where they're coming from and how deals are done there, so you can speak that language. Because in California, the offers that we're writing here in California are called a non-contingency offer. Meaning there's no contingencies. Just give us the home and get out. All the offers that I'm hearing about here, that's our version of a non-contingent offer. A 3-day option period, if that. You're waiving the appraisal, you're waiving the financial approval period. You're not asking, you're even paying the buyer commission and the title policy fees. I'm hearing all of these kinds of offers. That is a California version of a non-contingent offer. Speak that language from where they're coming from, and you can see their view better, and they'll be able to align with you better and feel more comfortable with you. So that's what we're doing for buyers. For sellers, I'm like before, I'm being honest. I'm telling them, I don't know the ceiling of their pricing anymore. I have no clue. And the amount of sellers that actually find comfort in that is baffling. Look, I know the floor. I know where we can start at. that will bring offers and will bring buyers. And here's the comps that I'm seeing, if any. And we can start here. I don't know where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw what Paul had one that went for $300,000 over asking price. Like, I couldn't have told you that.
Right.
There's a home, that I was trying to make an offer on that went for another $70,000 more than I thought it was going to go for. It was already high priced, and we already went over that high price.
Wow.
I couldn't have told you that was going to happen. I guarantee you the listing agent couldn't have told you that was going to happen. So those are some of the scripts, if you will, that I'm talking to my sellers. Lead generation, we need to get back on our Facebook lives. Those were fun.
Those are fun.
I think that was, I really think that was lead generating for us because, we were in front of people's faces.
Educating them. You were educating them about what's happening in the market, and what better time than now, right? And you have a big audience. Yeah. Well, so with the sellers, let's talk a little bit more about the sellers. So, how are you finding, and I know it's not necessarily on there, but let's talk about inventory, seller inventory. Like, how are you finding seller inventory? Is it all database? Is it, are you reaching out and saying, hey guys, I'm sure you're reading the news or listening to the news, what's your conversation you're having to get in front of sellers these days?
So we are still on social media, still posting the numbers for listings. So that is having an impact, I know, on our database. They're seeing those listing numbers going, oh my gosh, this isn't getting any better, which is actually kind of a good thing for us, right? We're communicating through them, believe it or not, emails. I've had a great response from emails. Even last year during COVID, sent out a couple of emails, market updates, and we got calls. And then from there, it's just following up with our clients. Something that we enacted a few years ago was just a couple, I think it was 2 or 3 client events. Now, 2020, those got canceled, obviously. But it was just a great interaction that showed our people, look, we're here for more than just selling you a home, right? So we're building that trust and that relationship. So now whenever we send anything, a text message, a phone call, an email, our clients are paying attention. They know that we care. So then they actually care about what we know as well. So that's very helpful. And then through those reach outs, it's really just, hey, Chris, saw your email, saw your Facebook post. We're really thinking about selling. What do we need to do? What does the market look like? And the most common conversation that I'm having with them is helping them understand the record low inventory. I would really like to go back and check. I'm not sure how I would do this. Honestly, haven't even had the time. I want to go see the amount of homes on the market back in like the 80s and 90s when my parents were selling, because I'm pretty sure the inventory we have now is what we had back then. And pretty sure the population was somewhere in the ballpark of a third of what it is now. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Fact, that's crazy. Chris, I was looking at our 222 units that we closed, and I was thinking it might have been a record, for all time, because I know the volume was, but it was like in 2000, something like 2005, like some random year, 2005, there were some months that had like 500. And I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? And so, so there were some times where, and they didn't have any, of course, volume was way down because prices back then it was completely different market. So I'm like, somebody was hustling. I have a feeling it was your mom and Andy Allen. Because I think that when he told me about 15 years in, he was #1 of all of Keller Williams. So I'm like, that's where it is right there.
That's right.
That him and your
well,
mom
keep in mind, interest rates started to go down. When I got in 2003, interest rates were 7, started going down to 6. And it just kept going down. I think the rest of the United States, the bubble burst in 2006. It didn't really bubble burst up for us until 2008, in my opinion.
Interesting.
So interest rates started going down. Austin was gaining jobs through Dell and some other companies that were moving here. So 2005 was a pretty awesome year. I'd say the peak was 2006, and it slowly declined to 2009. But 2005, that's not shocking. I remember it was like, tell everybody money is practically free. It's, like, I think it was at 4% at the time. It could be wrong. But it was dropping dramatically from 2003. Fortunately, I got into my home at the end of 2005 because 6 months later, I had like $30,000 in equity in 2006.
Nice.
So that was a pretty good year.
That was exactly opposite. That's right when I was getting in, when everything was crashing.
And our market in Nevada was all short sales foreclosures, right? So which this market, and I tell everybody this market reminds me of that, only because the smart, skilled people willing to adapt are the ones that are having these kind of extraordinary numbers, right? They're educating the client, they're building confidence, they're helping their clients win, right? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So with the sellers, if they want to max out, how are you managing that? Are you seeing a lot of them going to rentals and stuff like that, or are they moving and shifting their money into something else?
So I'm having more sellers consider leasing until they can find what it is they want.
Okay.
It's like they're cashing out their retirement. They're cashing out. We're going to sit on it.
Right.
We'll have the cash ready to buy something else. I've got 2 listings doing that right now. One of them is a past client that I helped them buy the home 15 years ago, and I'm pretty sure they're going to like quadruple their money, which is awesome. And it's just going to sit there and wait until they can find the property. They're going to build the home, probably build it themselves and find some land, but they're going to be able to buy the land cash.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
Another listing that's coming where, grandma's ready to retire and she owes next to nothing on the house. She's going to rent something until she can find something.
Yeah.
And maybe even, hopefully the lease doesn't know this, but probably going to break the lease and find something.
But you know what? If you make that much money
cash
in your house, you can buy your lease out. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not a big deal when you're thinking about 12 months at whatever. I mean, come on, there's a way around everything, right? So what about, okay, what do you think about, before I open up for questions,
Sure.
with Tesla and all that, SpaceX and all these companies relocating, what do you see? And I know it wasn't on there, but what do you see? Like, I don't see us having any kind of relief on this anytime soon. What are your thoughts around that?
As one of my tech VP's wife said, everybody eat your Wheaties.
Yeah.
Because California's coming.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. A major tech guy says, hey, you guys need to build more homes. And he offers up a flare saying, move here, I'll hire you. And oh, by the way, here's a little tidbit that my sister might smack me for. There is a backstock of relocation leads of like hundreds of people. So if you think this is a bubble, I got news for you guys. It's not.
Yeah.
The bubble is when there's a false demand. What broke the market last time was the market, and I'm making this number up. I don't have the numbers to support it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going off the top of my head. But last time, it was like 50% of the buyers were investors. That's not the case this time. Oh, by the way, the reason they were investors is because there were lenders in other states like California. They go, oh, you have 80% equity in your home. We'll give you another 40% on top of that. Think about that.
Yeah.
That was 120% value of their home. I used to work for Fidelity Investments. That's called a margin call, guys. You're already in the red. You were in the red when you took the 80% equity because the home, it's a market. They fluctuate. Right. But you can borrow way up here. That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
There was a bunch of people that were getting $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 out of their home, and they were paying on $300,000, thinking, "Man, this is a great idea." No, this is a bad idea. Yep. You just borrowed every spare inch that you had in your mortgage and then some.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go invest that somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and then you deal with markets like Las Vegas. I had a friend who bought a home at 250. 6 months later, doing nothing to it, it was worth 500. Have you seen that here in Austin? No, not unless you buy it as a fixer-upper and you fix it up and turn around and sell it. So, is the bottom going to fall out from underneath us? Maybe, but what's our version of that? All of a sudden, your home is worth 500 and it sits there. That's what happened in the last market. Some people lost some money, sure, but people bought at 150. It was worth 200 within a few years, and then it just flatlined and it sat there.
Yeah.
You didn't see somebody go from 250 to 500 and drop right back down to 150.
Yeah, I agree. It's very, very different because, again, I got in the market just right after you, but it was in Nevada, and what you had seen is this financing. It was the financing greed that drove all that, right? People got qualified that shouldn't ever have qualified for those homes. And they were all, if you remember, 3-year ARMs, 5 years ARMs. Oh, if you watch The Big Short, we'll just refinance, no problem, right?
Here, we'll give you $1 million. You have a heartbeat. Like,
exactly. Okay, exactly. Got your pulse. Yeah. Okay, so you're alive, and great, awesome, good. We'll go.
We called those a drug dealer loans. Yeah. Oh, wait,
Yeah, right?
you make 100K a year and your bank statement says that? We'll give you money.
Okay, no
We'll give you
problem.
$1
There you
million.
go.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
was
exactly
genius.
right. Now, lending has changed a lot since then. And I think
Right.
hopefully we learned a lesson from that, right? But it was like no doc loan and no money down and all that. And now it's harder to get the money. You really have to
Yeah.
qualify. And so that I agree 100% with you that it's a very different what's driving this one, right? It's very, very different. There's such high demand. So before we open up for questions, tell us what you think, Mr. Ott. What do you think you do really well? And it can be about anything, but what do you that we could learn from you? What do you think you're doing that's I know you're shaking your head because you think of all these things you want to do. What are you doing that's working for you? Whether it's with a client or the way you look at things, because you're definitely playing to win.
I wasn't prepared for that question.
It was on the list.
I know it was. I know it was.
You didn't think we'd get that far.
You know,
What do you do that works really well?
last year, I was having a conversation with a friend. I was supposed to meet him for lunch, and I was politely brushing them off, telling them, just hold on. You know, I'm crazy. I'm crazy busy right now. And their response was, wow, I didn't realize you were that driven. And it kind of caught me off guard because I didn't think I was driven. I still don't think I'm that driven. I'm a little bit competitive, guys, but you know, I don't have to be, you know, love you, Tim, but I don't have to be Tim Heil. I don't have to be Ben Kenny.
Yeah.
Where am I going with all this? I'm not trying to be negative. What I'm saying is what I'm trying to keep up with is the legacy of Liz Ott. So I'm driven to run my business the way she did, which was just take care of people. When they're on your radar, they're your children, they're your friends, they're your family. You take care of them.
Yeah.
That legacy is transferred over to us and all of our agents, to the point where we have people that are like, no, you have to work with Chris. Well, you can. I've got some other agents that work the same way I do. You can work with them, right? But that focus is, what am I doing to make this less stressful, to make this easier for my clients? How can I make my services more streamlined, right?
Yeah.
I think what people are screaming for is a more streamlined process. The problem in real estate is everybody, and I mean everybody, the 180,000 plus agents in Keller Williams and add on everybody else, can have their own processes. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. However, there's no standard. So people are like, well, this agent did this one and this one did that. And well, I don't know what's the standard here. There isn't any. That's kind of the great thing. But the negative is people don't know what to expect. Where am I going with that?
Yeah.
Start setting that professional standard, guys. Like, start telling them what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what I learned in English. You're gonna in a paper, you're gonna tell them what you're gonna tell them, and tell them what you told them. Right? It's the same concept. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we've done. You keep that communication style, set the expectations, and streamline it. Yeah. All the technology is doing is streamlining it, making it easier for them. So don't just look at your services to go, okay, how is this making me more leads? How is this making me more money? Why don't you throw in, how is this making it easier for my clients? How is this informing them better?
Yeah.
How is this educating them better? Ironically, the higher end clients, they don't want to do anything but sign on the dotted line and see you later. They want you to do it all.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
And they will pay you for it.
Right.
You're the professional.
Right.
So act that way.
Right.
Offer those services that make Zillow look like crap.
Exactly.
That make Redfin look like,
yeah,
I don't even know what I want to say. I'm going to be positive and not say anything negative there. Do whatever you can to streamline what you're doing to make it easier, not only for you, primarily for your clients.
Right.
And they'll come back to you. When you're answering questions and you're talking about things that are going on in the city, keep in mind from their perspective. Are they moving here? They've lived here. You know, are you talking to them about their lifestyle, not just their homes?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
We had a client call us back from 31 years of closing with my mom, 31 years ago. And all because my mom said, hey, don't take that house. It's going to back to a main road called Parmer. Get the one on the other side of the street.
Oh my gosh.
31 years later, hey, we're ready to sell. And we want to work with Liz because she pays attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Taking care of people, right? Taking care of people. And part of taking care of people is in this market that we're in, managing their expectations. I remember as a new agent always hearing, you never leave an appointment without setting the next, this is what happens next, right? The next,
Yep.
or an email, whatever. Okay, this is what's happening next. Because again, we are doing it every day. They're not. And like you said, how stressful it is when you and your wife sold and bought again, right? It was like, and you know what you're doing. It's funny. Whenever we buy something, my husband just like, he's the worst client ever. He's so nervous. He's like, Nellie, did we get it? I'm like, listen,
hold on,
baby. I said, we gave the highest and best and I'm good. And they either take it or we don't take the house. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And we got it, right? But he's like, whoo, I can't sleep, But
I just negotiated a deal similar to that. Like, and they're both attorneys, and they're like, so why aren't we asking for this? And let's ask for that. I was like, hold on, you're using up all of my goodwill.
Exactly.
And I still got 30 days to go through. And the husband responded, great idea. Wasn't even thinking that.
Yeah.
So when I was a rookie, I would think, okay, you're the attorney, you know the paperwork, you know this better than me, right? And I would totally succumb to whatever they want to do. Now I'm like, hold on a second. Like, just, I realized they're freaking out.
They are
freaking out. Like, calm down.
That's right.
We got this.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm driven. I gave you another long answer. I'm driven to continue the legacy and extend it, and really just build a solid clientele that, sure, I want to call them and I want to see them, but when they need something real estate wise, they call me. It shouldn't take me texting or calling them to get them to call me back, or when they have a real estate need to call me. They should want to call me because they're like, man, Chris knows everything. And or if he doesn't, he'll get it done. I'm calling Chris.
That's awesome.
I'm calling Teresa. I'm calling Bailey. I'm calling Olivia. I'm calling Matt. I'm calling Kelsey. Anybody on our team, like, they just get it done. We're calling them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And my core advocates, they are that. I mean, I've got an investor who calls me every year about his lease. He goes, man, see, that's why I call you every time. You just get it done.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So cool. That's so cool. I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. This is your guys' chance to ask any question. Let me open up the chat here.
As long as Diane Johnson's not asking me the questions, we're good.
It's a different Diane Johnson.
Okay.
It's a different, we have a Diane Johnson at the North with us, who's and so Diane, you can ask a question.
Yes, you can. I was picking on a different Diane Johnson who might be watching. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys. So what unmute yourself. This is the chance to ask anything you want and get an answer from this smart young man.
Maybe.
I
may have the answer.
Hi, Chris. My name is Jen, and I am brand spanking new, like just got my license and haven't even used it yet. So I don't know all of the subtleties of working with new home builders and new construction as opposed to resale. But have you found that your relationships with builders changing? Are you looking at more new construction? I mean, has your focus on new construction changed at all?
Yes. Builders hate me. They don't like me. Sorry, I guess I went a little negative there. That is a great question. Yes, the relationships have changed because they've changed them as well. Several of them have started offering fewer commissions. Several of them are saying, hey, we don't know what we're doing month over month. Yeah. So I would say definitely work on relationships with the on-site salespeople, and keep in communication with them. That's not any different from any other year though. It's when things change, sometimes they change weekly, sometimes they change monthly, and having a great relationship with them will definitely help you get to know what's going on in any area. But the new home builders, this is what happens. The market gets great and they pull back on all of these incentives that they offer to the buyers and to the agents. And when the market tanks, all of those incentives start to come right back out. But the great on-site salespeople, they're always just going to communicate what they've got, what they can do. They're going to be upfront with you. They know that the selling is offering the options and letting people select them. They know the selling is also offering people what they see popular in the area and what they can and can't do in any given neighborhood. So just keep up those relationships with those on-site salespeople. As far as negotiating with builders, it's just like any other seller. You just basically got to give them whatever they want, whatever they're asking for. But watch out for the things. Get to know their contract and watch out for the speed bumps that your buyers need to watch out for. And definitely get everything inspected. They're moving so fast and building so fast. They may say they have a third-party inspector. Who cares? Get your own. It's worth the extra money to have extra eyes on that thing to make sure that it's getting built right for your clients. And if you're focused on your clients' needs, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll look through the contract, you'll follow the deadlines. That's another great thing that you can do for your clients always with the builder, is learn all those deadlines and communicate those deadlines to your clients ahead of time. There's going to be deadlines of when they've got to get selections done, and each builder's a little bit different. You can ask those questions when you meet with those on-site salespeople. Hey, what is the new deadline to go to the design center, right? To get those selections done. You can set up an entire calendar for your clients so they can see things coming and they can respond instead of react. With how quickly things are moving, that's the best tip I can give you, because money-wise, you don't really have much negotiating room when the builder has 10 people in line for that house or for that plot of land, right? That doesn't mean that you can't keep the builder accountable on your buyer's behalf. And having a third-party phase inspector, BPG is one of them that can do it. Great company. They'll inspect the slab, they'll inspect the frame before sheetrock, and they'll inspect the final product. Do it. Keep the builders accountable to everything, because they don't care. They're throwing up homes as fast as they can.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so unpredictable, Jennifer, right? What we're seeing with the market, right, Chris? I mean, every builder's kind of changing a little bit. So it's a little unpredictable right now because of the massive demand. And so you're seeing really weird things, like some, some aren't paying commissions all of a sudden, or some are in bidding war. So it's that relationship with the builders has always been, in new construction, has always been a good one. And so, but when times get like this, it's interesting to see where they pull back, which it's unfortunate, but I think it's still a really important relationship to have, because again, we're playing the long-term game, right? So we're always going to behave like professionals. So, okay. I see.
I'm always thinking the timeline, by the way, the timeline of contract to close.
Yeah.
Well, in a resale, I know those deadlines. With a builder, each builder is different. Mm-hmm. Get that timeline, get that outline together, ask all those questions of what to expect. When is the money due? What point are we locked in? When do we need to get the loan? Set all of those expectations and keep the builder accountable, and you'll do just fine. And even ask questions like, how much are you seeing in upgrades in this area? People are buying the lot for $150. They're building a $350,000 home. How, on average, what's the amount they're spending at the design center? Another $100,000. Okay. And prepare your buyers for it, guys. Get ready. This isn't going to be a $500,000 home. It's going to be a $600,000 home. Just be ready for that. Right.
That's great advice. Okay. Jonna asks, how do you manage the out-of-town clients that don't believe our market and slow to prepare? And don't believe in our market, and they're slow to prepare accordingly. Jonna, hop in if I didn't ask that right. Do you understand the question?
Yeah.
How are you managing your out-of-town clients who maybe don't really realize what's really happening in Austin?
I'm just bombarding them with statistics and examples. When we started this Zoom, I was talking about what we've seen in offers. Buyers who are paying the title policy, they're paying for the survey if needed. I mean, they're basically paying for everything that the seller would usually pay for, and then some. And in some cases, they're even paying for the buyer agent commission. Yeah. So I don't only give them the stats, I give them the things that I hear in the industry, which, by the way, I've been doing for years. So I don't know if that's anything new. I guess the only thing that's new is the actual information that I'm passing along to them. Several years ago, I helped start as a founding member of the Austin Young Real Estate Professionals. And people are wondering, they would ask at these events, hey, why are you guys doing this? This doesn't make sense. It's like, are you kidding me? Every month we had a meeting and I would get an update about the market around the city. And all of a sudden it makes sense why a home is $300,000 in one part of the city, but it's $400,000 in another part of the city. Basically, I got a market update just by hanging out with agents at an event. So knowing that information is wildly helpful.
So just really, and you're just, you're passing that on and you're educating, because if they don't move fast enough, they're just not going to get it. Right.
And in some cases, guys, I mean, I used to hate this phrase, but you can't, the phrase is you can't fix stupid. I've really hated that phrase. That means you're calling people stupid. No, you can't change people's minds.
Sure.
Some people just have it stuck in their head.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do to educate them. And in some cases, you're just going to have to go through the offers with them and give them the feedback and go through a couple of offers and get them to understand, look, guys, we're running into the same thing everywhere we go. And, different homes in different markets. I don't want to keep running into the same brick wall and stressing you guys out. I think we need to regroup and talk about how to make some winning offers going forward.
Right. Because they're getting frustrated too. Marla asked, I've heard of builders not allowing third-party phase inspections. What would your response be to counter this?
Do it anyways.
How can they not allow that? I mean, it's
do it anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, great. Then you can't submit the formal report, but that's not going to stop your buyers from trying to go, hey, there's this issue that, you could still write an email or deliver a list of concerns. Hey, sorry if that's dinging, by the way, guys. I tried to turn off my text messages and it's still ringing through.
It's not.
Good. You can still do it and submit the request, talk to the inspector, say, hey, what are the really important items, and still go back to the builder and say, hey, we walked the home the other day. They don't need to know that it was with an inspector. I don't even think they care. And then submit the fixes and go, hey, we noticed this and that, please fix it, and see how they respond.
Well, the inspection is for the peace of mind for the buyer, right? So that's interesting to me that because they don't have to fix these things. I mean, that at the end of the day, the builder's going to decide. It's just like in a resale. The seller is going to decide if he does the things or not, and where you go from there. It becomes another negotiation, right? It doesn't mean they'll do anything, but you'll have peace of mind for your buyer. So I would ask the question, could you explain to me why that is? Because this is the buyer has every right to inspect the property. That sounds really fishy to me.
Well, the genius thing is if they find something that's really out of code and it's really bad, the builder doesn't want that lawsuit.
Exactly.
So they find something that, maybe wouldn't have been disclosed, and you just saved your clients. You can, depending upon the builder contract, and this is where you may need to talk to an attorney, there's a chance you can get out of the deal.
Right.
Look, this slab was not poured right. We got to halt everything. We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
That's where, and sometimes you're gonna have to fight, guys.
Yeah.
I like to avoid that as much as possible, but when it's just egregiously bad, fight, take care of your clients.
I had two. My first house I ever bought was a new build in Reno when we moved back from Germany. And the second house was also a new build because we moved to a better part of town because we realized the schools weren't good. So we built this beautiful house, and that's where we took a total hit because then the market crashed. But we spent $8,000 on an entryway, right? And this was an entryway that you come in, and it was like checkerboard, beautiful, like with trim around it and just checkerboard, like a real statement piece. And so I was unrepresented. This was right before I got my license. So it was when I got my license, I said, oh my God, the builder, that lady that I liked, she works for them, not me. And I didn't realize, oh my gosh, I'm underrepresented here. But she was really cool. And we did a walkthrough and I had an inspection. I knew to do that. I don't know how I knew to do that, but I did. And so, but we went in there and, they had built that entryway, like it was checkerboard, but they started on the side, like a diagonal. And they went from the side, so it was completely lopsided. It wasn't center. It went this way. And I'm like, this is an $8,000 entryway and it's wrong. And she's like, yeah, you might want to say something. And I'm like, okay, well, tell them it's not acceptable. And they ripped it out and redid it. Now that was just a cosmetic thing, but it's those kind of things like, you need to see that. Your agents have the right. I mean, your agents, your clients have the right to see that for sure.
Well, there's all kinds of cosmetic things that slowly lead to structural things as well.
Exactly.
So let's not downplay a cosmetic thing.
That's right.
You install the brick wrong, and the water is going to drip down that brick wall inside the home, and you're not going to notice it till 5 years in, and all of a sudden, I've got mold.
Mold everywhere. Exactly. Right. Marla also asked, do you know if AREP is still meeting? She hadn't heard anything from since COVID. Are you involved with that still?
I'm a little embarrassed to say that I aged out. No, they still,
Well,
I mean,
I obviously am too
you
old,
can
so I
still,
wouldn't go. Yeah.
well, yeah, but you can still go to the events. I
Sure.
honestly, I haven't even had time to look at any events, and due to COVID, I don't know what happened to it. It went strong for several years and was even absorbed by Austin Board of Realtors, and they had regular events, and I think they still have them. However, I haven't followed up with it in a while, and honestly, I completely let go of it last year because I knew nobody was going to meet. So,
Yeah, I
great
would look
question.
at their website or something. I'm sure. Yeah, I know like Brendan Sanford in the office is really involved in that too. Just go check
There
out
you go.
their website or on ABOR. Marla just added, I was surprised to hear this about the builder not allowing it to, and haven't personally encountered it, but didn't know if it was something that can be countered since they own the to be built until it closes. So yeah, always shoot for that, because I don't know, it to me it sounds like, what are you trying to hide? Why?
Come on.
They
And
don't
the other
have,
thing is, okay, fine. Schedule a time with the inspector and walk through with them. Like, look, we're not going to see if they'll do something like an informal inspection.
right.
By the way, this may not be 100% correct way to do it, but at the bare minimum, see if they will walk the home with you and pay them for it. It may not be a formal, 2-hour inspection, but still have somebody who knows the code about building, who's built a home before, walk through it with you and go, hey, this is not right. This could be an issue, and bring it up to the builder. That is the worst case scenario, by the way, guys. We don't allow third-party inspections. Well, you're not going to stop me from walking the home with somebody who knows what they're doing, because I know that you guys are trying to build 50 homes in 1 month, and there's no way things aren't getting missed. They're going to get missed, guys.
Right.
It's sometimes they take it as a personal dig. I'm not trying to say that you're not doing your job. I just want to make sure that my clients know what they're getting.
Yeah, and it's an asset they're buying. Why wouldn't they inspect it? That's interesting to me, right? You buy, I would very much ask that question too, and be like, oh, okay, let's talk about this. Is just to protect the buyer and just for them to have peace of mind that they're buying a great investment. Is there something that you're trying to hide? I haven't heard that, so that's a new one for me. So that would
builders do a great job of trying to rush you and make you feel like, okay, well,
Yes.
if we do this, it's going to delay. I don't care. Like, I want you to build that wall right. If it's 2 weeks later, fine, because I don't want an issue 5 years down the road. So they do this great little way of making you feel guilty for asking things. Don't ever feel guilty. Ask for everything.
Exactly. And who are you representing, right? There you're representing the buyer. So, okay, Chris, so we are out of time. So any parting thoughts? See how time flies. We're having fun. First of all, thank you for this hour with us. But what's your any final thoughts for the group? Any advice on playing to win in 2021 and beyond?
But I've only got 2 minutes left.
That's okay. We can go 2 minutes over if you need 4.
Don't downplay the long game. Seriously, guys. The planning. I love the vision board stuff that we do. I love the life by design training that we do. I love what Andy Allen said. Nobody's going to respect your time if you don't. These are all long game things that I've learned, guys. Top agents who produce, 2,000, deals a year are saying they don't lead generate enough. It's the same stuff, guys. Have that longer vision. Have that bigger plan that you're aiming towards. Don't quit on that. You may need to change the way you're executing things, but I don't think the tactics have really changed. Maybe what you're communicating is changing. Maybe you have to move a little bit faster. But if your vision is the long game, and I want to build a solid database of clientele, and I want a reputation of taking care of my clients, the only thing you're going to do is slightly adjust each market and try and figure out how to move faster and still take care of your clients. You just can't lose when you're thinking that way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I know that your mom is super proud of the legacy you and your sisters and that you're doing amazing things. Your mom's one of the coolest people. And, when I moved here, she's like, she was just a huge supporter, and love her. And I see her and you guys, and I know she's just smiling going, I'm so proud of these kids. And I think it's the parent, my kids are like 17 and 20 now. And my 17-year-old Chris wants to get his license right after high school and come work with me at the North.
Man.
Yeah. He's like, forget school. And my other one's traveling the world. He's like, forget college right now. Let's go live my life, right? And I
Yeah.
love that because you are just living that legacy, and you couldn't be more outstanding people. And it's just an honor to be with you guys. So
Thank you. I wish I could show both my parents. Like, I wish they were here so they could see what we're doing.
yeah.
You know, my dad passed just before I got my license, or actually right when I got it.
Oh, he
And I
did.
wish that I could show him what we're doing now. He would love it. He would
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Well, I
And
think
you know,
that-
mom
I
got to
think
see
they
most
see
of it.
I think they see it. So
I think so. It'd
Yeah.
just be nice to, yeah.
I know exactly.
Hey, look at my screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at what we just did.
Exactly. Look at
Yeah.
these numbers. They would be incredibly proud, and they would be even more proud of
Yeah.
how you guys do your business. Is that
Yeah.
you're taking care of the people, and you're just taking that legacy and amplifying it. So it's an honor to be in
Yeah.
business with you, my dear.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
today.
Same
All right.
here.
Thanks everybody for
Thank
watching
ya.
it. Go make it happen. Play to win. Woohoo!
There you go.
Bye guys. Bye.